Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Someone Saved My Life Tonight. I'm reviewing all of Elton John's studio albums and grading each track out of 10 in an attempt to make a chart of my favourite 200 or 300 songs. Now I recently reviewed this album, Breaking Hearts, but we have got some unfinished business because there are 4 tracks connected with this which aren't actually on the CD, unfortunately, but could well have been included in bonus tracks. They were all B-sides of various releases from this album, and I'm just going to go through them now, grade each one out of 10, so I have the complete list of this period. I've also got a mystery track, which I can't track down, and I'm hoping you might be able to help me with it. Now, the first one we're going to look at is the B-side of Who Wears These Shoes in the United States. It's a 1982 song called Lonely Boy, and it starts like this. Pretty promising so far. We've got some guitar coming in now. Now, this is all about some encouragement for a loner or a lonely person to achieve something in life, to take it all the way, as the lyric says. These lyrics are by Gary Osborne. I find them rather simplistic and shallow, actually. There's a kind of funky sounding guitar on this, which is a bit unusual, and Elton's voice is a bit strange on this. It gives it that very B-side sound. You know what I mean? Some tracks just sound like a B-side. The guitar solo is fairly entertaining, and the electric piano is okay. And there's quite an interesting fade out on it, which I quite enjoy. Let's just pick up a little bit more of it. So we can hear the vocal coming in here. Very much an electronic sound. Yeah, so it doesn't really get anywhere in a sense, this one, although it's a very identifiable sound for that particular time when he was recording, I think. You can listen to this one on the Jewel Box album. It's collected there, and it's also available on YouTube. For me, this isn't particularly deep or memorable track, so I'm going to give this one, on my scale of 1 to 10, this one is going to get 3 out of 10 for a below average track, and of course that's why it's a B-side. Now, while we're on the topic of B-sides, what do you think is Elton's finest B-side song? Now, I'm not thinking of double A-sides here. I'm thinking of genuine B-sides, but of really good songs. I'm going to start this off by saying the best one I've encountered so far is The Retreat. That's one that's collected on the Too Low for Zero album. This is a song about the Civil War. I've commented on it before, and I think I gave it very good 7 out of 10. So if you can find a better B-side than that, or just tell me about your favourite B-side, please do. So we're going to move on now to one that is called A Simple Man. This was the B-side of Sad Songs. Now, this is in waltz time. It's got a bluesy intro, which sounds a bit like this. Elton's used this before on several tracks, used it since on several tracks. It's a comfortable intro. It's got a kind of country feel as well. Elton's using a sort of American voice on this one, and it feels a little bit from that sort of mid-70s era. It could have been a kind of a Goodbye Yellow Brick Road era song rather than one a little bit later. Gary Osborne again on the lyrics here. I prefer to die with my head held high than to live my life in fear. This is about standing up for what is right. So a pretty sound message in there. And again, you can hear this on the Jewel Box album. It does rather lumber a little. It's a bit of a lumbering song. But you know, it's fair enough without being outstanding. Here we get to the refrain. So we can see it kind of continues in that vein. It's not an offensive track, it's quite pleasant to listen to, but without it being particularly memorable. And again, it's probably going to come in on the radar here at about 3 out of 10. Doesn't mean to say it's a bad track, of course, but I'm comparing it with all the others. So, you know, your song, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, they're going to be really high up here, of course. So it fits in a little bit there below average. Now, I couldn't wait to listen to the next one, which is called Tactics. This was the B-side of In Neon, one of my favourite songs actually from Breaking Hearts. Now, I just thought, how on earth could you write a song with the title Tactics? And of course, it's not actually a song. I mean, there's no vocal on it. It turns out to be an instrumental. It was an instrumental outtake from the 21 at 33 sessions, apparently. And I thought when I listened to it first, I thought, well, this sounds like a TV theme, doesn't it? In fact, we discovered that it was used as background music for soccer coverage on the BBC here in the UK. You know, it has that sort of football-y sports theme to it. And you can imagine the credits rolling over this sort of music. The introduction, I felt, was a little bit like Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Let's see what we think to this one. Do you hear that there? A little bit like the start of Don't Let the Sun Go Down. So things are going pretty well so far. This is pleasant. There's some synth strings coming in there, I think. And at this stage, we're thinking Carla Etude from the Fox, that sort of feel to the song. However, once this is built up for a bit, we do find that things actually change. Let's just wait for the main theme to come in. That's not particularly pleasant, is it? That use of the synthesizer there. And it's a shame because the whole thing is quite a nice little package, actually. It's a bit corny, it's a bit thin, but, you know, in the 1980s, TV themes were a little bit like this. Of course, Elton has written something similar to this on Blue Moves, which was a theme for a non-existent TV series, which is actually a really good track, I think, from Blue Moves. So the whole thing sounds a little bit dated now, but it's an interesting little oddity, this, and please let me know if you like it. You can hear it on the Jewel Box as well as on YouTube, and I'm going to give this one, I think it's an average track for Elton. It's obviously done a lot better, but it's a nice little treasure to listen to. Now, the fourth one I want to look at here is a song called Tortured. Again, it's on the Jewel Box, but this was the B-side for Who Wears These Shoes in the UK. Now, this one starts very much like Song for Guy. Listen to this. So, very gentle introduction. I should say this came out in 1984, but this was also apparently the B-side to Chloe in 1981. So this must have come from an earlier recording session. You may know more about that than me. Please let me know. And Bernie Taupin this time is in charge of the lyrics. To me, it's a little bit like a stage musical song. It's got a lovely moving verse. But unfortunately, when the refrain kicks in, it's a little bit disappointing and I find it a little bit overblown. The lyric is sensitive. It's about a troubled relationship, and there's a big guitar solo in it, perhaps a little bit predictable in a way, but great fun, actually. So let's just hear another little clip of it. So the vocal's just coming in here. I'd like to make this song so simple. That's really beautiful, actually. Elton's voice there, powerful words, pleasant tune, and it all working really well there. Let's see how it progresses. Now, here's the refrain coming in. Now you can hear in there the vocal that Elton uses on the Fox album. It sounds very much like that, I think. The production is there. So this suggests it was probably from 1981 rather than 1984, but it just made a comeback as a B-side on Who Wears These Shoes. It's not a bad song. I think with a perhaps a slightly more inventive refrain, that could have scored quite highly, actually. I do like the verse a lot. I'm going to say it's an average song for Elton. Lots of ones better, of course, that he's written before and since. But again, it's one of those oddities and rare tracks which is certainly worth checking out on the Jeweled Box album. Now, one more to mention that appeared on the 12-inch release of Who Wears These Shoes in the UK. And it's a cover version Elton did of I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Now, I'm guessing a little bit on this one because I tracked down a couple of versions of this. One he did at Wembley in 1977 and one on the Live from Moscow tour in 1979. This is, of course, the classic Marvin Gaye Motown song. It's been covered many times by different people. Elton's using a grooving solo electric piano in this, filling in all the band parts himself. In the Moscow version, there's some excellent percussion, of course, from Ray Cooper. Elton demonstrates his youthful voice here with his massive range. It's a really powerful performance. There's a short video version of this available on YouTube if you want to watch it. It doesn't feature the whole song, but the track itself runs to over 11 minutes on YouTube because there's a lot of ad-libbing by Elton. Interesting if you want to sit through that and see what he can do with this song. Obviously, cover versions are not as good as Elton's original songs, but we do enjoy him revisiting other people's songs occasionally. So, for I Heard It Through the Grapevine, I'm going to mark that one as fairly good. It's a very good version, but I wouldn't mark it that high because it's not an original song of Elton. So those are the 5 tracks which came out and could have been on the CD release of Breaking Hearts because they're all B-sides. Now, one other thing to mention. Now, Elizabeth Rosenthal, in her book about Elton, his song, which is a great book because she analyses every single track and you can look them all up in the index. I don't know, I'm not endorsing it in any way other than saying it's a really good book. But now she mentions a song called Here Comes Miss Hurt Again. And she says that Elton wanted this one on the album, but it was swapped with sad songs because the producer or the label boss didn't like Here Comes Miss Hurt Again. Now, I've looked this up. I can't find any recordings of this song. Somebody says it was an outtake from 1974 and was later reworked for Breaking Hearts and was possibly a country and western song. Well, what did that become on Breaking Hearts? Did it become in Neon, for instance? We don't know. If you've got any information about this song, please let me know because I'd like to hear it or I'd like to know what happened to it. Okay, well, those are my extras for Breaking Hearts. If you know of any really good B-sides around from any era, please let me know. I'm looking for Elton's very finest B-side. That's all for now. There's another video coming up very shortly, but thanks for watching and don't forget we're still standing.